All right, we are going to take a fish drawing. We're going to add color, remove the background, and make it into an animation. So here's a drawing of a fish that we took a photo of and then brought it to the computer. To bring your photograph to the computer, you could plug in a charging cord to the computer and drag it off of your phone there. You could email it to yourself, and you could also just add Google Drive and add the photo to your Google Drive. So once you have it to your computer, we are going to open it in Photoshop. So you can do a right click and you could say open with Photoshop would be one way to do it. You could also just open Photoshop first and head to your start menu and open Adobe Photoshop. You could also use the Adobe Creative Cloud icon on your desktop would be another thing that would work as well. In here, we're going to say open, and I'm going to find the photograph that I have saved to my computer, and I'm going to open it up. Once we're in here, I can unlock the background layer, and we can use the crop tool. It's this one right here, and I'm going to just drag it in a little bit to fill the frame with the fish a little bit more and get some of the parts that we don't need out of there. Once I get it where I want, I'm going to hit enter on the keyboard. Next thing we're going to do is adjust the levels. So image, adjustments, and levels. And I'm going to use these eyedroppers over here. I'm going to use this one to select black, which I'm going to get a little bit of a gray part here, and that will darken up the black areas. I'm going to get the next eyedropper for the white area. Click on the background, and it looks like I need over here as well. That looks pretty good, so I'll say OK. And one more step, which you may not need to do. I'm going to use the eyedropper to get that exact white color and use my paintbrush to fill in the little area here. You might not need to do that. And next we're going to remove the background. So I'm going to get my magic wand tool, which if you click and hold down might be hidden for you. So magic wand, I'll click on the background, and as long as your shape is enclosed, you can hit backspace on your keyboard, and that will get rid of the background. I'm going to get rid of my selection, so going to select and deselect, and I'm going to add some color. So I could pick color from over here. You could also double click it down here to bring up the color picker, and you can scroll through and find a color that you want to add. And once you select a color, just say OK. And this is a really simple way to do it. There's lots of different ways to do it. I'm just going to use the paint bucket to add some flat colors. And anywhere I click, it's going to fill it in. As long as you enclosed your shape with your original drawing, we'll add our colors. And let's see if we can get that part. Guess not. All right, we are going to save our image and take it over to Animate. So we're going to do File, and I'm going to do Export, and just do the top one, a quick PNG. We want it to be a PNG so it doesn't come in with the background. I'm going to save it. Make sure I know where it's saving to so I can find it here in a minute, and give it a name that I'm going to remember. So I'll close this. Don't need to save the original. And now I'm going to open up Animate. And we're going to create a new animation and bring in our purple fish. So I'm going to tell Animate to create a new animation. I'm just going to use the full HD. Make sure the frame rate is 24 and hit create. And once we're in here, we are going to import our fish drawing. So File, Import, Import to Stage. Make sure I know where I have it saved to, and hit open. It comes in really big, but we can resize. So I'm zooming out by hitting Control minus to zoom out. There's also the zoom tool. And I'm going to resize them using the free transform tool over here. When I click from a corner, I'm going to hold shift so it doesn't distort things. And I'm going to make it a little smaller on my stage than I normally would because I want him to be able to swim around it. There he is. Double click our hand to have the stage fill the frame. And we are going to add some rigging to it with this tool right here, the Asset Warp tool. So we'll click on there, and we're going to click on our fish. It will say that it wants to convert things. Just say OK. And we added our first point. And I'm going to add another point. This won't look the same on all people's work, but I'm going to add it to the fins here, and yours will probably be a little bit different. I'm going to add it to each part of this fin, and I'm just going to add one going to the top of the fish and one going to the bottom. All right, so we want our fish animation to be at least 3 seconds long, so that would be 72 frames. So I'm going to click on frame 72, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. And I'm just right clicking and saying insert keyframe. And then about halfway down, I'm also going to put a keyframe, and you can hit this button to insert it. And then halfway in between there and the start, I'm going to add a keyframe. And then halfway between those two, and it doesn't have to be exact, I'm going to insert a keyframe. Okay, so we want it to start and stop at the same spot. And at the next keyframe, I'm going to have it move up to here. And I'm going to have it rotate a little bit. I'm going to use free transform and have him rotate up. And then I'm also going to change some things with that asset warp tool. So I'm going to have his fins move a little bit. We're going to have him move this way a little bit. Maybe we'll have his move a little bit like that. And then I'm going to go to my next frame, and that one I want to be up here. And I'm going to rotate him again. He's going to be upside down in this one. And I'm going to shift his fins again with the asset warp tool. Move the top of them a little bit this time. On to the next spot. And on this one, I'm going to put him over here. We're going to rotate him one more time. Make sure the cursor has that arrow. And time to go to class. All right, we rotated that. We're going to use the asset warp tool again and move the back fin around. Maybe move other parts. And then the last one will be back at the beginning. So we're going to select all frames. I'm going to click the last one, holding shift, click the first one, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to create a classic tween. Might take a minute here. And we could go ahead and preview what we're doing. I'm going to loop it, and I'm going to preview the whole 3 seconds, and I'm going to hit play. Going kind of slow. There he goes, swimming around in a circle, and just keeps swimming around and around. So the other thing we can do is we can add some easing. So I'm going to click the first frame, hold down shift, and select the last frame. And we're going to add an effect to it, to the tweening. And we can ease in out. And if I double click this one, it'll apply that effect to our tweening as well. You can hit play again. It's kind of slow to start, but he swims around in the circle there. And there he goes. All right. So for sharing things, we are going to head up to Window, and we want to go to CC Libraries. A little bit different. And this way we can share things. And we're going to create a new library. And we'll give it a name and hit create. And once we're inside of there, we're going to tell it that we want to come on up. I just made it really big. We're going to tell it that we want it to be the entire animation, and we'll save and upload. Here's the plus sign, and we'll hit save.